Welcome to the podcast of MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine. MotorWeek is made possible by TireRack.com, RockAuto.com, and by DieHard. Here's your MotorWeek podcast host, John Davis.
Thank you, Alec Webb. Welcome, everyone, to MotorWeek podcast number 121. And sitting around our table in Studio C today, writer-producer Brian Robinson.
What's up, John?
Our road test producer, Ben Davis.
Hello there.
And our writer extraordinaire, Patrick Lucas.
Hello, what's up?
Okay, we've got a What's Up is a lightning round. Viewer questions. We're going to do a little rant and rave towards the end. But first, some cars to talk about. Coming up on Motor Week, we have our Performance Coupe Challenge, and this was basically a head-to-head that we did once again with our friends up at Cars.com between the M4, the Cadillac ATS-V, and also a newcomer, the Lexus RCF. Brian Robinson, everybody around the table, what happened?
Well, obviously, since the ATS-V Coupe came out, the RCF came out, everyone compares it to the M4, so
we had to do it.
Right. And I think you could probably predict how it turned out. The M4 still won, but the ATS-V, amazingly close, almost right there, just a couple little things.
Wow. That is pretty darn impressive.
Cadillac said they were going to do it, and they did it.
And really, the big thing, the M4 had carbon brakes, which was a huge advantage. And I wouldn't say that's the only difference, but made a big difference as far as track work. And then the RCF was a distant third.
But that was a little surprising because, I mean, we all loved the RCF when we had it by itself. So what was the big determiner there?
The big thing, obviously it wasn't just track work. We did some street time. And believe it or not, the RCF had the most brutal street ride, unlike the other two, which have, like, the Cadillac's got magnetic ride control. The BMW's got adjustable suspension. The RCF, it is what it is, and it's pretty brutal for the street. And the V8 engine sounds great, but it was slow in a straight line compared to the other two, despite having the most horsepower. It's got really low torque numbers, and it was okay on the track as far as keeping their RPMs up, but in straight line stuff, it was way behind the other two.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. If you took away the BMW Mystique, and then that's pretty darn difficult for people to do, and you just looked at these three cars, and you weren't going to drive them on a track or even on a track day, would you still rank them that way?
I think I probably would. You could certainly make a case that the ATS-V would be a better everyday car. But as far as when you get in the BMW, everything is just right. Everything's where you want it to be. ATS-V still got the goofy touch panel controls. I don't know. I will say the ATS-V on track, it impressed me more on track than on the street. I mean, it's got it's a lot of goodies from the Corvette, the rev matching. We had one with a manual, which was pretty impressive. It's got the performance traction management, all that stuff from the vet. So I mean, it's a pretty impressive track beast.
What about you two guys? If you were same kind of hypothetical question, you've actually driven all three of the cars at one time or another. If you had to plunk your money down and it wasn't a matter of BMW Mystique, would you make another choice, or would you just pretty much agree?
Yeah, I'm not. I appreciate BMWs for what they are, but I never really got on board with them. I would probably heavily drive the Cadillac and the RCF and make a choice. I really like the RCF because it's a newcomer. It's the underdog.
They obviously did a really good job first time out of the chute.
I found the seats in that car extremely comfortable, and it just was me on a daily basis. I think that grunty V8 growl and just the mystique of it is kind of cool. And the colors it comes in are cool. I don't know. I like it for all the wrong reasons.
Patrick?
I think they're all good in different areas. I really like Lexus interiors, what they've done recently. I guess it probably started with when they redid the IS, but I really liked the interior of the RCF. It was like sporty and very premium, not quite stuffy luxury like BMWs tend to be. Cadillacs don't really do it for me interior wise, but they are very comfortable and enjoyable in terms of a daily kind of drive. So I mean, I'd say they're all three pretty close. I wouldn't have a clear winner.
I pretty much agree with the original rundown. I think I really like what Cadillac's done with the ATS, but I also like with the fact that BMW has managed to take their performance for everybody series car and make it so amazingly civilized and get so much performance out of it. And I actually did notice when we had the RCF how rough the ride was. So I think it's a good outcome.
And they another thing a lot of people liked about the BMW was the M modes. You know, you get it set up the way you want. You don't have to go in and turn, adjust the suspension, and then adjust the steering or whatever. You get everything set up the way you want it for the track. You arrive at the track, hit the M button, go to town. When you got to leave, head home. You hit the other M button to bring up all your comfort settings or whatever, and it makes it easy.
But the takeaway from this is that Mercedes doesn't have a lock on ultra-high performance yet civilized cars anymore. There's other players in the market that are a lot closer than probably any of us a few years ago would have thought they could be.
It would have been cool if there was an Audi in the mix there, though.
What would you have thrown in here if you could have had more cars?
You could add an AMG C-Class. Certainly an Audi S5, RS5.
There are others, clearly.
Yeah, I think the whole point was, the M4 is the established leader. Here's the two
newest comers
that haven't been in the segment before. So,
good test, good comparison. Okay, let's move on now to something else new, a pair of cars. We've been waiting for quite some time for a Scion to kind of bring out some new models, and their sales have been lagging, and they've made all sorts of noise about trying to expand into a larger demographics. So they've launching two cars at the same time, but very different cars. The IA, which is their first sedan, and the IM, another 5-door hatchback, but with a difference. Benny, I've seen the cars and sat in them. You actually went to the launch. Give us some details.
At the launch in Santa Monica. The two totally different cars, like you were saying, John. The IA is pretty much a Mazda 2 sedan. It's built in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. And they're also going to use that chassis on the Versa?
I believe you're correct.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt. Not Versa.
You were
Toyota.
thinking Yaris.
Yaris, sorry. Thanks.
Yeah. That car is pretty cool. It comes with you can get either car in a 6-speed or a automatic, but the IA is a true automatic versus the IM is CVT. Not a bad CVT, though. The IM, to me, is probably my choice. It's a cool little 5-door hatch. It kind of has some Matrix flavor to it. It kind of looks like the Matrix to me a little bit.
And it's based on the TC, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It comes in a lot of cool colors. Really cool standpoint, sales-wise, is they don't come. The only options are transmission and color,
which is typical for Scion.
And I think that's awesome. It comes with just the right features that you need. The IM's got its eyes set on Golf, which we all know is a great car, but let's face it, you get a base Golf, it has nothing in it, not even a backup camera.
That's true. That's true. We love the Golf, but it is true. You basically got to go up the chain.
Give it 2 years and we'll have to have it.
When I saw the IA, I liked it because it was different and it was pretty aggressive for its looks. And now that we are not going to get the Mazda 2 here, at least for the time being, and Yaris will probably not be a performance-oriented car, I liked it a lot. But yet, you look at it and you think sedans are dying. Nobody wants a sedan. Doesn't even matter whether you're young or old. Sedans are sitting on the lots waiting these days. So I question whether or not it was a good move and whether it's a car that they're going to get much traction in. I don't know. IM, I think, all the way around is a more interesting car. But I did like the IA because it does have that Mazda simplicity on the inside. It works very well.
Yeah, Scion certainly needs a boost as far as sales. I'm not sure either one of these will provide it, but we'll see.
Neither car seems to have the break out of the box originality that the brand has sort of established for himself. And even if you're an older buyer, you want something that you would think they would offer something that was a little bit out of the box. So nice cars, well equipped. We say in our test, very very competent vehicles, but maybe just a little underwhelming.
Yeah, not an XB kind of quirkiness to it.
Okay, the next vehicle we're going to talk about is not so much a vehicle; it's what's going on in the alt fuel business, and it's kind of sad to say, but gas prices are down about $1 from a year ago. They're now forecast they could be back to around $2 nationwide, probably except for California. By the end of the year. But Honda has announced that with their new Civic redesign, they're doing away with both the Civic Hybrid and their CNG model, especially the CNG model, one that a lot of fleets have used, and we've lived with one for quite a while. And on top of that, there's been news in the last couple of weeks that the Chevy Cruze diesel is not going to come. We found out the Mazda 2 is not coming to the U.S. for a while. So with this cheaper gas, in fact that trucks are selling 52% in the last couple of months of the market. What does this all mean for the market? What does this particularly mean for Honda? Where are we headed for the future, given that we still have these fuel economy standards to meet? What do you think's going on?
I wouldn't read that much into it myself. Just because they're doing away with Civic Hybrid doesn't mean they won't launch an all-new hybrid that would basically be a Civic Hybrid size
or something
yeah,
else.
So I wouldn't I wouldn't say this is the end of hybrids at Honda and they're no longer heading that direction. I think they'd be better off relaunching the Insight or coming up with a unique hybrid vehicle.
Any other comments?
That does make sense.
Yeah, I mean it seems kind of short-sighted, but I know that a lot of the way I guess the automotive industry works, that everything is so far in the pipeline and in the future that a lot of these cars it's not like they're abandoning it. They've already been developed and built, and they're just not bringing them here yet. So if they need to, they definitely have what they need to bring it back in a couple of years if gas goes up again.
Yeah, they're not doing away with the technology. The Civic Hybrid was never a full hybrid anyway, or at least by definition, the way we look at a Prius. They are taking the Accord Hybrid, however, which has been well received by the press, and they're moving that production to Japan, which is a little odd. And GM's going ahead with things like the new Volt and the Bolt electric car. So, as a matter of fact, they've got, 55 Bolts running around as test mules, and they're achieving that 200-mile range. And the new Leaf is going to have new range. So I guess you could make a case that even though fuel-efficient vehicle sales are down, the manufacturers are trying to shift it so they keep the core of what they're doing. But obviously people want bigger stuff right now.
I'm surprised the Cruze diesel didn't get a little more traction. I think part of it was like an old-school diesel. It wasn't like a modern – I guess it was a modern diesel, but it sounded like a school bus.
It was pretty clacky.
It wasn't very clacky. It wasn't at all like the Volkswagens or anything like that. I don't know if that was part of the reason, or if they just didn't market it well, or what. But I would have thought that would have gotten a little more traction.
So we'll see. The automakers are kind of all hoping, and I suspect they've already started to campaign for some delay in the fuel economy standards beyond 2020, and it's going to probably be up to whoever gets elected for president to decide whether that happens. So we'll keep you posted on some of the intricacies of the market. But right now, trucks and big SUVs seem to be king. Let's move on to our lightning round. This is a time for all of us here at the table to have a couple of minutes to debate a trending automotive topic. Okay, Hyundai. More and more noise is coming out of Hyundai that they're going to move ahead with a pickup truck. They showed the Santa Cruz compact concept at the auto shows. They've been parading it around for a while. Good idea to look into a small kind of personal use truck like the Santa Cruz. Will people buy it? It looks like it's going to be a front driver based on one of their car chassis. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm on the record as saying that we definitely need small, affordable, fuel-efficient, personal use pickups. No one makes them anymore, and I think the market is perfect for it. Put the 2-liter turbo in there. No one cares if it's front-wheel drive. Just make it all-wheel drive.
As long as it carries something decent in the back.
Yeah. So 1,000 pounds or 500 pounds, whatever.
Yeah, it wouldn't have to tow much at all. I think there's a big market for that. I was even in my dream, I picture even more competition. I picture take a Honda Fit and put a pickup bed on the back of it.
Like an old brat.
Yeah, super light duty because just for somebody that wants
Just
to garden
throw
with
your
it.
gear in the back of it. I mean, not unlike what you used to do with a Wrangler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think if it'll all come down to pricing. I mean, that's why the big three got out of the small pickup game because the prices had escalated to where they were overlapping with the full size. So if they can keep the price right, get the fuel mileage up there, I think it would be a big hit.
A third vehicle in every driveway.
Patrick, you're the youngest person sitting at the table. What do you think about small pickup trucks? I mean, you're thinking about a family. You've got a dog now, so what do you think?
I think
Which family are you thinking about?
I think
About the dog.
I think it's a good idea. Obviously, they're rumoring a diesel, but I don't know if that's a U.S. thing or not. Yeah, I'd be into it. I mean, they take an existing car platform that they already have and modify it, and you got a usable storage space on a platform that's probably already pretty good to drive. I don't know if it'd be a Sonata or a Elantra, or I don't know what platform they would use.
Where they get the Santa Fe platform.
Remember the old Volkswagen pickups?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
the Rabbit.
They were fabulous.
Yeah.
They were a lot of fun.
The old Charger pickups, remember those?
The old Charger
Rampage?
pickups.
Chevy loves. How far are we going back here?
Yeah. All right, so let's hope they do it. We think there'll be a market. Okay, we're going to go on to a viewer question. Bill is not happy about some of the trends in powertrains and probably some of our comments too. He says, please address the problems related to turbochargers, modern turbochargers and their maintenance. Everybody talks about them. It's the second coming, but you're still talking about smaller engines, and just because you're getting the better mileage, that better mileage isn't free. So, what do you think about, turbos have made a comeback out of necessity, I think. Back in the 80s when they were pretty hot, they had lots of problems. Why is it any different this time?
Well, let's say there's a lot more electronics involved as far as the operation of the turbos. And I can agree they're not free. Usually you're paying more for them, and you're using premium fuel on a lot of them. So, but as far as their overall reliability, I haven't really seen anything. I wouldn't really worry too much about it.
The biggest improvement is that all the modern turbos, where the old style turbos use basically oil as your cooling agent, and when the engine would turn off and the oil, if it wasn't continuing to circulate, you had problems with bearings. Now they use water to augment that cooling. So that's been a big thing. Plus, direct fuel injection apparently also helps too. So the engines run cooler. I think he's right in the fact that it puts a lot more stress on the engine. And, who knows at 150,000 miles if that's not going to be a problem. But, boy, if you look at what Ford's been doing with the EcoBoost, they're having pretty good success with it.
Yeah, lubricants have come a long way too. So
that's true.
That's going to aid.
So, they do test these vehicles pretty thoroughly, Bill, and it's not free. But on the other hand, people are pretty darn happy with the higher fuel economy, even with the lower gas prices. So it looks like smaller engines and turbos are here to stay.
Don't fight the future.
Yeah, I've got more confidence it's going to work now, basically because they had so much problems the last go around.
Ford's going to be in trouble more than anybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
That's for sure.
The higher octane requirement is a bummer, though.
Yeah. Okay, that was kind of Bill's rant and rave. But what about the rest of us? Anything else hit your noggin in the last couple of weeks that you want to talk
Patrick's
about?
got something he can't wait.
Oh, here he is. He's flipping his pencil between one hand and the other. Go ahead.
Hyundai replaces GM as the official NFL sponsor. It's not a rant or a rave, but I don't know if I can buy that. Every time I'm watching a football game, I see a Hyundai commercial.
What do you got against Hyundai?
I have nothing against Hyundai.
They're making pickup trucks.
It's not all American enough.
Well, no, it's not that it's American. It's just
Kia's been the NBA for years now. Yeah.
So I'm not ranting or raving. I'm just presenting it.
Yeah.
It is interesting, though, that the big three Detroit manufacturers, if you want to call it that anymore, which is hard to say, they are retreating from a lot of these sports events because they just don't want to pay the money.
Well, this one I was just reading an ESPN article about it. Hyundai is apparently paying double what GM pays. They're paying something like $50 million a year or something like that. to be the exclusive sponsor for the NFL.
I wonder if their vehicles have a lot of cool technology and stuff.
You do have to question how this pays off.
I was about to say, is Hyundai already really successful? Or are they going to hope to be more
Well, they've been
successful
down.
after this?
They've come back up now. Their sales are doing very well again. But, in this business, when I don't know about you, but when I watch professional sports, I'm watching the professional sports, and I barely pay any attention to the ads, except maybe at Super Bowl time.
Yeah. I think it's similar to sports owners.
Yeah.
I envision all the heads of all these car and truck companies getting together at these meetings, and then it's just I'm the chief sponsor of the NFL, and then the other one's I'm the chief sponsor of the NBA. I think it's just a big bragging rights thing, if nothing else.
Well, look what happened over in Europe when Chevy spent all that money to sponsor Manchester United, and the guy that was responsible for that, he was shown the door pretty darn quickly. I'm sort of a little unnerved, and I think it's my age showing, about the labeling and sponsoring of everything in sports. I mean, from the stadiums to the names all over the uniforms or the shirt they wear. You can't get away from it. And does it detract from the sport, or does it help? I guess that's the big question for consumers.
Not to me.
Probably helps the owners, I guess. That's the big thing.
You got to pay those huge salaries somehow.
Yeah, that's true. So Hyundai, just think about it. I wonder if Hyundai gets to pick the number of the players or the teams that they support. Probably not. No. Okay, that was a very good one. I want to wrap up this edition of our MotorWeek podcast, number 121. Thanks to writer-producer Brian Robinson, of course, our road test producer Ben Davis, our writer Patrick Lucas, who is also our podcast producer, our audio engineer today, Jillian Kuchman. Jillian, thank you very much for making us sound halfway intelligent, and to our podcast creator, Bob Mixter. For all of us at MotorWeek, thanks for watching MotorWeek on public television and also on our friends over at Velocity, for visiting our YouTube site where we're doing now, over 1 million hits a month, which is thanks to all of you that make that possible. Until next time, from all of us at MotorWeek, thanks for watching, listening, and just being with us on MotorWeek.
You have been listening to the podcast of MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine. MotorWeek is made possible by TireRack.com, RockAuto.com, and by Die Hard. For additional information on podcasts, videos, and showtimes, visit our website at motorweek.org. And watch MotorWeek, television's longest-running automotive magazine series, each week on your local PBS station.